At a national sales conference, my uncle joked, "Some people make deals, some people make coffee. Guess which one she is?" The room laughed as I sat calmly. Over 8 years, I stole his clients in silence until his commission pipeline dried up. When he called me sobbing, offering to split deals with me if I just threw him a lifeline, I told him sweetly, "I don't work with unethical partners," and hung up for good. When I graduated from Ohio State with a degree in marketing, my Uncle Dean helped me get a job at his company. It was a national supply chain solutions firm, warehousing, shipping software, procurement systems. Not glamorous, but it paid well. The company was based out of Columbus, Ohio, but teams worked all over the Midwest. Dean had been there for years. He was what people in the company called a closer. Big sales, big accounts, big mouth. I knew what people thought when I joined. Nepotism hire. Dean's niece. Fine. I expected to start at the bottom, but I didn't expect to be humiliated my first week on the job. 3 months in, I got invited to the Tri-State Sales Conference in Nashville. Honestly, I was shocked. I was new. I hadn't closed a deal myself yet, but I'd helped an older rep bring in a new account for a small regional client. Nothing major. Still, I was proud. I thought maybe I was doing something right. That first night, there was a cocktail hour at the hotel conference center. Everyone was dressed up, laughing, shaking hands. I stood near the back, holding a club soda, listening more than I talked. Then someone asked Dean, loud enough for the people around us to hear, "So how's it working with your niece on your team?" He chuckled, sipped his whiskey, and said, dead serious, "Some people make deals, some people make coffee. Guess which one she is?" The room laughed. I didn't. I just stood there, still, straight-faced. I didn't flinch. I didn't cry. I didn't defend myself. Just smiled politely and said nothing. He didn't know it then, but that was the moment he lost everything. I buried myself in work. I was in the office before most people turned their coffee machines on. I read every contract, every CRM note, every client file I could get access to. When Dean took long lunches and left early on Fridays, I was the one who stayed late, cleaning up his client notes and answering his missed calls. He didn't care. He thought I was helping Team Dean, but I wasn't. I was studying him. I started tracking his clients. I found the ones he hadn't touched in months. Found out which ones were frustrated. I followed the company's renewal cycle policies. Learned when contracts expired. Learned what could go wrong if you ignored small issues. He was cocky. He left gaps everywhere, and I quietly started filling them in. One of his clients, an Ohio-based distribution firm, had a software glitch that slowed down their shipping. I noticed the error in our back-end system and flagged it to the client's ops manager. CC Dean on the email. She replied, "Thanks so much. This would have cost us thousands. Appreciate you jumping in." Dean came into my office that day and snapped, "Why are you meddling in my accounts?" I looked him dead in the eye and said, "I thought you were on vacation." He didn't say anything after that. Just stormed off. I never told him I had been waiting for that glitch for 2 weeks. I got promoted. Officially got my own territory. Small clients, rural Ohio mostly, but it was something. But I kept supporting Dean's accounts. Quietly. He didn't know half his clients were calling me now. When they had a problem, they didn't bother with him. They just asked for me. I helped them. I always made it seem like I was just a support resource Dean had brought in. Eventually, one of his mid-sized clients, this company in Fort Wayne, sent me a gift basket, addressed to me, with a note, "To the real MVP. Thanks for making our lives easier." Dean saw it. He acted confused. I said it must have been a mistake. It wasn't. 3 months later, that client requested me as their account manager on the renewal form. Not Dean. It was the first of many. Year for the wall starts crumbling. Dean stopped showing up on time. He started drinking more during lunch. Started missing meetings. I wasn't sure if he noticed his income shrinking, but he had to. Commission checks weren't what they used to be. One afternoon, I walked past his desk and heard him on the phone with his ex-wife, begging for an extension on some kind of alimony payment. He saw me. We locked eyes. He looked away. That day, I moved 2 more of his clients into my queue. Officially, I was no longer a background helper. Clients started calling me, The one who gets sh*t done. They stopped referring to Dean at all. I got an award at the quarterly sales summit. Dean didn't even attend. Then came the Louisville deal. One of the biggest regional logistics firms had an RFP out. Dean tried to go after it. So did I. We both built proposals. I worked with the client's junior ops team and built a custom dashboard. Dean offered them a boilerplate package and didn't even show up for a call. I won the contract. He didn't say anything for weeks. Plus he called me late one night from a Holiday Inn. Sounded like he'd been drinking. Said things like, "We should join forces. You and me. Team Dean and my name. We could rule the territory. You're good. I mean it. You're real good." Then he said, "I can't do this alone anymore. Let's split the commissions. I'll bring in the big fish. You haoingi." We both win. My stomach turned. I waited a second. Then I said, "I don't work with unethical partners." And I hung up. After I hung up on him, I thought that was it. I figured he'd drift away, maybe quit, maybe get fired. I was wrong. He came back swinging. He filed a complaint with HR claiming I was sabotaging his clients. Said I was misrepresenting him. That I was manipulating CRM data to make myself look better. He even pulled a few old emails out of context, trying to frame me as someone who overstepped. I got a meeting invite from HR with his name on the report. For a moment my stomach sank. I didn't panic, but it felt like someone poured cold water over my head. The next day, I sat across from the HR director, laid out my call logs, my meeting notes, my client feedback. I pulled up ticket after ticket. All clean. Every action traceable. Every approval in place. Not one step outside protocol. Then I handed them a list of clients who had requested I take over signed, documented. The HR guy blinked. "So, he gave you nothing?" I nodded. "Not a thing. I built this." He closed the file. "We're done here." Dean got a formal warning for filing a false complaint. After that, the office knew. He wasn't just washed up. He was bitter. And desperate. Dean only had one account left that mattered. A multi-state freight distributor based in Indianapolis. It was the last deal keeping his income alive. If he lost it, his pipeline would be dead. I knew their renewal was coming. And I knew they were unhappy. They had delays in billing. Errors in their order tracking. Missed updates. All things Dean ignored. So I did what I always did. I listened. I checked in with their new logistics lead. A guy named Mark who'd just been promoted. I helped him fix a reporting bug. Showed him a custom tool to manage shipments better. He said, "Why aren't you our rep?" I said, "Ask Dean." 2 months later, I was copied on their renewal form. My name on the top. Dean's crossed out. That was the final straw. He came into the office the next day. He looked like hell bags under his eyes, tie askew, hands shaking. He slammed a folder on my desk and said, "You think this is funny?" I stared at him calm. "I think it's business." His lip curled. "You stole everything." "No," I said. "You gave it away." He quit 3 weeks later. No goodbye email. Just cleared out his desk one night and vanished. Rumor was he tried starting a consulting business, but no one wanted to hire him. Too many people knew what happened. Too many clients had seen the cracks in his pitch. I kept working. Got promoted again. Now I manage the Midwest territory. I've got a team of reps under me. Every now and then, someone asks if I know Dean. I nod. "He used to work here," I say. I don't mention the conference. I don't mention the call. I don't mention the coffee line. But I remember. Every single word. A few months after he quit, things settled down. I barely thought about Dean anymore. I was running a big territory, traveling a lot, even mentoring a few new hires. The ghost of what happened felt like it had finally gone quiet. Then one of my reps forwarded me an email. It was from an independent sales consultant, offering strategic lead generation and account recovery services. Said his name was James D. Klein. But the tone, the writing, it felt familiar. I clicked his website. Cheap layout. No real testimonials. But then I found the contact page. Dean's old phone number. I knew it by heart. He was trying to get back in using a fake name, pitching services to people in the very company he left in shame. I didn't respond. Instead, I called compliance. We flagged the email, sent a quiet internal memo. Do not engage with James D. Klein, former employee using false identity. He was blacklisted within a day. A month later, one of our competitors posted a testimonial on LinkedIn. Thanks to James D. Klein for connecting us with my company name. Appreciate the referral. My blood ran cold. He was trading on my name, pretending he still had influence, selling insider info. I called the competitor directly. The guy on the phone sounded embarrassed. He said he used to work with you, said you trusted his pipeline. He's lying, I said flatly. He was let go under an ethics violation. Got it, the guy said. We won't be working with him again. But it kept happening. Little signs. An old client mentioning he reached out. An internal rumor about a ghost consultant sending emails. Dean was still trying to crawl his way back in. That's when I made the decision. We'd never spoken before, not really. I only knew her name from an old Christmas party and a few office stories. But I looked her up, found her LinkedIn. Sent a polite message. I think we have something in common. Can we talk? She replied an hour later. Sent me her number. That night we talked for over 2 hours. I told her what Dean had been doing. She told me everything else. Turns out, Dean had drained his retirement early. Took out a second mortgage on a condo in Dayton. Missed multiple alimony payments. Got banned from 2 other sales firms for shady behavior. Then she said, he's been using your name for months. Said you two were building a joint brand. I thought it sounded weird. I told her it was a lie. She was quiet. Then she said, he's still trying to hurt people. Still can't believe it's over. I said, it's not over yet. A few weeks later I found proof. Dean had convinced a former junior rep from our company, someone I once mentored, to let him run leads through her new startup. He was ghostwriting proposals, pretending to have a partner in enterprise logistics, and whispering my name behind the scenes. I reached out to her. I said, I'm going to give you one chance to walk away. She panicked. Said she didn't know he was blacklisted. Said he'd promised her a 50% cut. She thought it was legal. I didn't argue. I just sent her the compliance files. She sent back, I'm out. The next day, Dean's fake business website went offline. But I wasn't done yet. It should have ended there. Dean humiliated, blacklisted, ghosted out of every corner of the business he once ruled. But something still burned in me. I'd spent years cleaning up his messes, watching him lie, manipulate, and twist things behind the scenes. I knew he wouldn't stop unless someone made it impossible for him to crawl back. So I made sure of it. I dug into everything. Public records, old contracts, business filings under James D. Klein. Turns out, Dean had filed a fake LLC using a P.O. box in Columbus and listed several false business partners. 2 of them were made-up names. One of them, a real person who had no idea. That was enough. I handed it all to a friend in legal at a partner company. They pushed it upstream to our regional board. Dean had fraudulently claimed a partnership with 2 certified vendors on government contracts. Even though he never got paid, intending to commit fraud was enough. 3 weeks later I got the call. He was under investigation. Civil charges first, then criminal. Nothing that would land him in jail, but enough to ruin him. The state filed an injunction against his company. He was banned from working with any vendor tied to state or federal logistics for 10 years. His face showed up on a small business fraud watch list. I never even had to say his name. It was a number I didn't recognize. But I knew. I let it go to voicemail. His voice was cracked. Slower. I know you did this. I know you think I deserve it. And maybe I do. But you didn't have to bury me. You didn't have to salt the earth. There was a long pause. Then he said, you were right. I gave it away. I thought I was untouchable. Thought I could talk my way out of anything. You were just a girl with a folder and a smile. I never saw it coming. And now it's all gone. He started to cry. I'm tired. I've got nothing left. Then the call ended. The truth? I did go too far. Not for the clients. Not for the company. Not even for my career. I went too far because I couldn't let it go. That one line. That one stupid moment where a man thought he could laugh me out of the room. Some people make coffee. That joke rewrote my life. Turned me into someone I didn't recognize by the end. He was a cruel, reckless man who thought charm was enough. But I became someone colder. Someone who didn't stop when she won. I scorched the earth. And now I run the Midwest division. I train young women how to spot predators in the boardroom. I tell them, there's power in silence. But don't forget, silence isn't always kindness. Dean lives alone in a rented condo in Dayton. Drives for Uber on weekends. He never remarried. Never got back into sales. Sometimes I wonder if he tells people he used to be a king in this business. That once long ago everyone laughed at his jokes. I don't laugh. I just keep working. And when someone asks me if I want coffee, I say, only if it's strong.